Because I'm pushing back sequel month, I might as well do something until then. So, today we're gonna be looking at another piece of my childhood, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the movie.
Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Something's come along and it's burst our bubble. Yeah. Uh-oh, we're in trouble.
This was one of the first films I've seen back in theaters, and it was a big deal since it was from a TV show I really liked. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is an American adaptation to Kyoryu Sentai Zyuranger, the 16th installment in Japan's long-running Super Sentai series. Both center around a group of individuals who fight an evil witch who lives on the moon and summons the monsters of the week. And our heroes go into combat with special suits, weapons, and big robots that combine into even bigger robots. All of this is to sell toys, with a bit of storytelling on the side. For us American viewers, Power Rangers uses the same costumes and props from the Zyuranger series, but its scenes come from a combination of original footage, where the actors are recorded doing something, and dubbed footage from Zyuranger. Toei actually supplies the latter for the American adaptation every once in a while, and then for the movie, Saban decided to hire Brian Spicer to direct it. It was his first time in such a role, and the movie is essentially an extended episode from the TV show, just with its own continuity. So given how this flick is targeted towards a younger audience, can it at least hold up to its source material? Let's find out, because it's Morphin time! Just roll the film. We start with an opening narration to get non-Power Rangers fans up to speed with its premise, but some of the exposition is off.
With the aid of his trusted assistant, Alpha 5, the Noble Master sought out 6 extraordinary teenagers and gave them the power to transform into a superhuman fighting force.
No. There were originally 5 Power Rangers before a 6th one was added at some point. We'll go all over them later. But for now, we see our teenagers with attitude preparing to do some skydiving for charity. Along for the ride are the 2 bully characters, Bulk and Skull. Guess they didn't want to be shown up.
After you, Skull! What are you, crazy? This is your idea!
Hey guys! You might want to slip those on.
Those dumbasses nearly jumped without parachutes. Now for the Ranger roll call. First we have Yellow Ranger Aisha, played by Karen Ashley, Black Ranger Adam, played by Johnny Young Bosch, Blue Ranger Billy, played by David Yost, Red Ranger Rocky, played by Steve Cardenas, White Ranger Tommy, played by Jason Frank, and then lastly we have Pink Ranger Kimberly, played by Amy Johnson. Now watch as these teenagers do some aerial stunts. For those who don't follow Power Rangers closely, this is not the team that the TV show started with. Rocky, Adam, and Aisha were mid-season replacements for Jason, Zach, and Trini, played by Austin St. John, Walter Jones, and the late Twee Tran, respectively. Tommy was also originally an enemy Green Ranger who gave the Rangers all that they could handle, but at some point he switched sides, and he became one of the franchise's most iconic characters. He's so popular that he became the de facto leader of this team, even though the role is originally reserved for the Red Ranger. Okay, back to the movie. This scene was done using a mix of real skydiving footage and screened footage, and some of the close-up shots make the latter look obvious. But I wonder how many takes the movie needed to get the former just right. Oh, and the charity is for an old observatory. Given the needs of those less fortunate, I don't think an observatory should be that high of a priority. I mean, unless everyone really wants to see Ryan's comet, they just gotta land right on the bullseye. And to no surprise, they all get it. We're also introduced to a couple of movie-exclusive characters, Fred Kellman and his father. The latter was also skydiving, but he embarrassingly landed in the parking lot. The only other thing I can say is the police department is also participating in this event. Good for them, I guess?
You're looking good up there.
Yeah, thanks, man. Hey, maybe next time you can join us.
Oh, and these two know the teens because... Oh, and whatever happened to Dumb and Dumber?
Hey, let go of me! I want my mommy!
They could be falling to their deaths! But it's not their problem, because our heroes are doing extreme rollerblading! You know it's the 90s when teens are doing this kind of activity. Might be unnecessary filler in a Power Rangers movie, but at least we get to see a lot of Australia. Hey you kids, this is a construction site! Get out of here! Anyway, the Dum-Dums land safely together, just as we're getting our first major plot point. The workers find some kind of hole cover, and upon removing it, a giant Easter egg emerges. Seems safe to touch.
John, you alright?
He's dead! Now who's gonna tell his family? The Rangers get a call from their leader, Zordon, and they warp back to their command center to talk about this egg. I should note that the exterior of the command center, that the movie slightly updates from the show, is the Brandis Bardin campus of the American Jewish University in Burbank, California. Given its appearance, it would work as a base made by an intergalactic being like Zordon.
You must act swiftly. The planet is in grave danger.
Danger from what?
Another thing about the command center is that the main room was built along a wall of the set, while the rest seemed to open out given design limitations. In the movie, we have multiple walls throughout the place. And while I like the color scheme of the original show better, I admit that this command center feels more complete. But enough of that, what's Zordon got to say?
6,000 years ago, a morphological being known as Ivan Ooze ruled the world with a reign of unparalleled terror. He was on the verge of completing construction of his ultimate weapons, the Ectomorphicon Titan. A group of young warriors like yourselves lured him into a hyperlock chamber and buried him deep underground. But now the chamber has been accidentally uncovered.
Well, it's a good thing you all can teleport, so let's just warp down there and oh, it's nighttime when they warped. Okay, no problem. As long as the villains don't find out, oh, they're already here. Zordon must be slipping in his age.
No need to wake him. In fact, why don't you take a little nap yourself?
Nice to see that Robert Axelrod still had it, but since Lord Zed remained a villain during Season 3, that should be no surprise. Joining him is Rita Repulsa, played in person by Julia Cortez, but dubbed over by Barbara Goodson. Goldar, voiced by Kerrigan Mahan, and Mordaunt?
I could do that. I just choose not to.
Yeah, out of the side villains you could have brought in, like Scorpina, Squat, Babu, and even Finster, you chose to make an original character that we'll never see again? Originally, he was meant to be related to Goldar, but removed that from the final cut. So if they wanted to try that, then the writer should have introduced Rito here, since he is Rita's brother. Now, this movie came out in June of 1995, when Season 3 of the show started later that year in September. Maybe this is why Rito doesn't debut here, which is too bad since he had a pretty rad design. Anyway, just as Zed says, it's time to crack open this egg and see what's inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, the ooze is back!
Well, putting aside the bad CGI entrance, I do like his design. Ivan is played by Paul Freeman, aka Reem Balak from Raiders of the Lost Ark. He's a good fit as a villain in a Power Rangers story, because while he has his funny moments, he can be quick to anger when things don't go his way.
I will obliterate his entire legacy. It will be as if Zordon of Eltar never existed!
Finally, a real man.
He just strikes a good balance between intimidating and fun. If he replaced Rita and Zed straight up, I think he'd be one of the best villains ever. But given all that makeup for this costume, it makes sense for him to only appear in the movie. The villains leave him to do his thing, while Ivan is set to take care of that awful stench.
Smells like teenagers.
So yeah, now the Rangers teleport in. What the hell took them this long? And they run into Ivan. This starts with some one-liners and zingers, leading to this.
Power Rangers, huh? Zordon's still using a bunch of kids to do his dirty work. Well, meet my kids.
Ooh, Oozman. I bet they'd be a fun mook to fight in the show. Once he leaves, the Rangers are left to fight them in their civilian forms. This sort of thing usually warrants Morphin time, but I guess they need to conserve their powers in case of a real emergency. But considering how they're faring... I mean, even with pop music, they could only do so much, so they might as well morph.
Right, it's Morphin time! Right there, Tom!
Yeah, doing this in the middle of a quarry without any background or screening effects might not have been the best idea. Makes the transformation seem mundane compared to other morphing sequences. Oh, and the suits are updated to have PVC and metal plating. Could have waited to add those later, but anyway, the Rangers do some stunt work, and before they can fight back, the Oozmen have already left. While they go looking for them, Ivan breaks into the command center and confronts Zordon.
You haven't changed, Ooze. You're still picking on creatures smaller than yourself.
Put a socket at sea. 10 minutes out of the edge and I'm already listening to one of your lectures.
You robbed me of my prime. I was the supreme ruler of the most foul empire in the universe.
I wonder how that would compare to the Machine Empire or Dark Spectre from the United Alliance of Evil. And of course, it's time for Zordon to pay the piper. Literally.
Oh, the things that I have missed! The Black Plague! The Spanish Inquisition!
Well, how could you miss them? They come when no one expects them. Yeah, not doing that clip this time. The main bad guy continues blowing things up while the Rangers are none the wiser. Aisha turns on her helmet's headlights, while Rocky activates a mountable scope. While the creepy atmosphere is appreciated, we need to get some action again. So they find more Oozmen and continue the fight, now with funny sound effects. What is this? Ninja Turtles the next mutation? At least the choreography is good, and the way our heroes defeat the Oozmen is especially brutal. I know they were made of ooze, but still, that's freaking nasty. Unfortunately, the Rangers lose power after the fight, which is a hint that something's gone very wrong. I guess they just walked all the way back to the command center to find it in shambles. They even see a dying Zordon, who can't survive without the building's life support.
Ever since you came into our lives, you've been like a father to us all.
You must be strong.
But Alpha explains that there might be a way to save Zordon. The planet Phaedos might have the sort of great power to do just that, but the Rangers have to survive there without their Ranger powers. Alpha uses the last of the Center's power to teleport the Rangers to Phaedos, so our heroes also need to find a way back home without the help of their mentor. The villains notice what our heroes are up to, leading to Rita complaining about Ivan.
Obviously need a vacation. I think circumstances force us to choose a new leader. And I pick me.
In fairness, both Power Rangers and Super Sentai have a habit of introducing new villains at the start of a season, although the former has to wait until Lost Galaxy to have a Ranger team that's unrelated to its predecessor. No, I don't count Alien Ranger because the old cast is still there. For now, Ivan traps Zed and Rita in a snow globe, because why not?
Now you have a choice. You either serve me, or you can join these insufferable dingle dorks.
We never liked those dingle dorks in the first place.
You said it, they stink.
Goldar, I don't know if your wife from another series would approve. Anyway, to deal with the Rangers, Ivan calls forth his bird minions? Okay, he calls them Tengu Warriors, while the show calls them Tenga Warriors. I just don't get how these mooks are related to ooze. Maybe besides the purple armor. The Tengu start flying to the planet that the Rangers just landed on. They find the skeletal remains of an alien, just to show that we're not in Australia anymore. Oh, and someone is watching them from the shadows. Who could it be? Meanwhile, Ivan plans to brainwash the parents of Angel Grove and not just all the adults or humans in the area. We'll get to how he'll do this later. Back over on Phaedos, Tommy and Kimberly have a moment together, just before the Tengus attack. Needless to say, our heroes are barely surviving due to their lack of ranger powers, but here's a mysterious figure to even the odds. Well, why not just open with that? Her name is Dulcea, played by Gabrielle Fitzpatrick. She's a guardian of this great power, and she seems to know who Zordon is, for some reason. An earlier draft explained that she fought alongside him in a past conflict, but that idea got cut in the final script. Either way, she decides to take the Rangers somewhere. Back on Earth, Ivan dresses up as a mascot to market his ooze as a putty toy. He's also giving the stuff away for free. So what could possibly go wrong? Oh, that's how. Anyway, Dulcea takes the Rangers to the ruins of the Ninjetti Temple. Beyond that is a monolith that holds the great power they're seeking. Reaching it requires the aid of the Ninjetti animal spirits, and Dulcea gives our heroes special ninja suits. Because, yeah, ninja is a key motif in both Season 3 of Mighty Morphin and the movie. This is because Saban was starting to use another Sentai series, Ninja Sentai Kaku Ranger, as more material for this Power Rangers show. So we have a mix of older Sentai stuff alongside its direct successors, since Rita and Zed appear in multiple Mighty Morphin seasons and then some. But this also means that a bit of retconning happened. If Dulcea introduced these new powers in the movie, then the TV series would replace her with a Kaku Ranger character named Ninjor, originally named Ninja Man.
This is more than a restoration of your Ranger powers. Your new power coins come with new, more advanced powers.
Yeah, I prefer Dulcea in that role, because if anything, the movie does try to put the Rangers on a journey to explore their new powers, instead of getting them immediately. All the while, our heroes get a chance to learn more about themselves, even if the execution of the story could use a bit more work. Anyway, Dulcea identifies the animal spirits of each Ranger. Aisha is a bear, Rocky an ape, Billy a wolf, Kimberly a crane, Tommy a falcon, and Adam...
I'm a frog.
Yes, a frog. Like the one you kissed. To get a handsome prince.
Besides, haven't you played Chrono Trigger? Their frog was cool. She tells them that she can't help them further, since going beyond the plateau would cause her to age rapidly. She was fine when she first helped the Rangers, but whatever. She turns into an owl and leaves. Before we get back to the plot, let's talk about Fred, who's been an afterthought this whole movie. He's just here because the movie executives thought that kid characters can attract a child audience, which doesn't make sense. I mean, Mighty Morphin was a big success despite having a teenage cast, but I guess someone has to save the adults when the Rangers aren't around. Anyway, the Tengu return to Ivan to tell him what happened, and Ivan takes the news well.
How about taking another quack at it?
Not sure why you did that, since they volunteered to go back. Anyway, after resting for a day, the Rangers set off for the monolith. Lots of creepy skeletal remains everywhere, and one of them comes to life. Of course, it's Tommy who ends up saving the day, as he removes the neck bone and causes the whole monster to fall apart. Going back to the factory, we see the parents digging up and reconstructing the dormant titans that once served under Ivan. And there's mass production of the ooze they were giving away. Not sure why you need those anymore, but I'm amazed that Fred was able to find his dad at the dig site and then follow him to the factory without being caught. Once the job is done, Ivan decides to dispose of the zombified adults by forcing them to jump off a cliff. Fred has to stop that from happening, but first, let's see those titans come to life. Ooh, and people complained that the Scorpion King looked bad? These things look even worse! Also, say goodbye to Mordaunt, because he doesn't appear again until the mid-credit sequence. Back then, I actually thought he died off-screen because I never saw that sequence. In any event, the Rangers find the temple holding the great power, and, Well, it looks impressive. This was the largest set the movie had to make, and it took up the entire soundstage at the Warner Roadshow Movie World Studios in Australia. Really dig all the functioning aesthetics. But naturally, some rock monsters start spawning out of the wall, so it's time to pseudomorph.
Lingetti, the falcon, the frog, the ape,
The crane!
the wolf.
Slow down, rock monster. You have to wait until they're done with their morphing sequences. Let's see. 6 teenagers against 4 rock monsters who carry weapons. If ninjetti powers gave you access to ninja weapons or even ninjutsu, then that would be great. Otherwise, at least make the fight a little more interesting to show that the powers make a difference. They might as well be in their civilian forms. The first rock monster dies after falling into water, which wasn't all that deep. The second one is crushed by a rock slide. The third one gets split in half by one of their own.
They're going up.
Now that's brutal. And the fourth one gets ganged up on, until Tommy decides to do an impossible corkscrew kick.
8-ball, quarter pocket.
With the last Guardian down, the Great Power emerges from behind the door, and it reveals the same animals they had all along. Of course, the spirits then resemble their new Zords, and as for their suits... Okay, I can maybe understand the power recharging the morphers, just a little disappointed that they couldn't have given them brand new suits. And I get why they couldn't give them new suits, because Kaku Ranger only had 5 Rangers, and any other Rangers were villains, so there you go.
Hang on, Thordon. We're on our way.
Good luck, Rangers.
Bye! We'll never see you again. Ah, no! Not the horrible CGI! They look so awful during the day. Maybe setting it at night might be better?
Guess Ivan's been busy while we were away.
But Ivan's not the only one with bad CGI machines. The Rangers have them too.
Check it out!
Ninjazord, cool. Yes, awesome.
Even back then, the movie's effects really paled in comparison to the toy models and suits in the city sets. Oh right, I forgot about the zombie parents subplot. With so many adults missing, the kids should be worried sick about their parents, right?
Uh-oh, we're in trouble. Something's come along and it's burst our bubble.
Ha! Of course not. Kids only like to party. Don't know why Bulk and Skull are here. Or why they have 7-Up when clearly everyone is drinking the ooze. So here's Fred to yell some sense into the kids and ask them to help him. They all board the monorail to reach the place where the parents are about to jump. But in the meantime, the battle itself begins. And it's really rough to look at. Even in the dark, there's nothing appealing about how the Zords look, because they look so weird within the set. $50 million for this movie, and this is the best they can do? Well, our heroes managed to stop Scorpitron by just blasting it with Tommy's missiles. If it's that easy to destroy, why not do that to the other Titan? Well, with one more Titan left...
Now I'm beginning to get really angry. I feel big again.
It's awful.
Time for a little sword play.
There's not even lip movement. What the hell, Saban? Ivan destroys part of the monorail track, meaning the train could derail. So Tommy breaks off from the rest of the team to prevent the crash, leaving the other Rangers to combine their Zords.
Now!
Man, that is sad compared to how it looked in the show. You can really see that the CGI just looks wrong. But what about Tommy? I mean, with how monorails work, it should still derail there. But I guess the rest of the team really counts on Tommy carrying them, because right now they're getting their asses kicked.
Next stop, Angel Grove First Avenue.
Wait for impact.
Oh, now they have a solid version of the thing. Tommy joins up with the other Zords to form the Ninja Falcon Megazord. They decide to fly to space and lure Ivan away from Angel Grove. Meanwhile, the kids reach the parents, but they still cannot find a way to keep them from jumping. But luckily, Fred has an idea.
This makes no sense, and yet it's working.
As our heroes pass by the moon, we see Rita and Zed cheer on the Rangers from the snow globe. Then our heroes decide to defeat Ivan by crashing him into Ryan's comet, whose existence was established earlier in the film. They pretend to be caught by the big bad, putting him on a collision course with the comet. But how are they going to get out of this mess?
Taking care of business.
Oh no.
But why would that be an emergency feature? Whatever. With no Ivan, the mind control on the parents dissipates. The only thing left to do is to return to the command center and save Zorda. Oh, he's dead. If only they were here 5 minutes sooner. They could have done something.
Remember what we learned? To those who possess the great power, all things are possible.
Yeah, I know what's coming. The Rangers used their powers to bring Zordon back to life. And even the command center is putting itself back together.
Rangers!
He's alive! He's alive! He's alive! We thought that you had...
It is good to see you again, too.
With that, the Rangers celebrate with an outdoor party. They even praise Fred for saving the adults.
It's like what you taught me about martial arts. Use your head, and above all, stay calm. I heard you're in line to be a ranger yourself one of these days.
Well, maybe not him, but wait a few seasons before we get an actual Kid Ranger. We then wrap up with a fireworks show that gives appreciation to the Power Rangers, and if you stayed long enough, we get a bit with Goldar pretending to be a king on Zed's throne. Guess who isn't amused by that? I don't know about you, but this wasn't exactly a good Power Rangers movie. The fight scenes on foot were entertaining, and the sets are clearly upgraded, but the CGI aged very poorly, and there isn't a lot of storytelling or character development. We just have like a 3-parter episode with lots of padding, overused 90s pop music, and too many one-liners. Which is a shame since later seasons try to tell more dramatic stories to good effect. In the end, you could do a lot worse, but this deserved to be better. Especially as the first ever Power Rangers movie. I'm the Media Hunter. Media's my prey, and reviewing them my way.